Welcome along to another Pixiecast. It's been a few weeks since I've done one of these, so I might be a little bit rusty, but I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined by a good friend of mine, a man who I've met through the Facebook group, and a man who has some connection with my home city of Exeter, which we will speak about later on. He is Julian Rees Thomas. Hi, Julian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Andrew. How are you?
Very well, thank you, mate. It's good to see you as well. And where are you today?
I am in Lymington, which is in the south coast of the UK, in the heart of the New Forest. Kind of sandwiched between Southampton and Bournemouth, if you guys don't know where the New Forest is.
Place I know well. I was at Bournemouth University for a time when I was doing my degrees, so I know Lymington well. I had a friend who lived there as well for a while as well. So beautiful part of the country.
I think Bournemouth's gone a bit downhill since you were last there.
Sure. Probably. It was always a weird place, Bournemouth, because being a student, you pitched up there in sort of late September, early October, at the end of the summer season, and then you left in sort of end of April, beginning of May, just before the summer season got started. So it's very much a town that is split really by whatever season it is, isn't it? So,
yeah, I mean, it's full of students or geriatric,
very old people.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Christchurch, which is one of the towns which neighbours Bournemouth, has the highest average age of anywhere in the country as well, which will give people a bit of a flavour as to what it's like there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You always have to be a bit careful driving through there.
But you're a very young man, so you're bringing the average down in that part of the country.
Not that young. We were discussing that earlier, but yeah.
So
look.
And what do you do for a living then, Julian?
So I work in retail. I've worked in retail for probably about 22 years. Company I work for at the moment, we're the sole franchise partner for Timberland in the UK, and in the summer we work with the flip-flop brand Havaianas. So my role there is effectively I'm a sales director, sales and operations director. Mm-hmm. Pretty hands-on role. Spend a lot of time on the road, a lot of time away from home. So
a lot of time in Salcombe in Devon, you seem to be.
Yeah, well, we did have a little pop-up there, and we have 2 stores down in Cornwall. So yeah, every excuse there is to get down to the southwest, I'm there. It's always preferred over going to somewhere like Milton Keynes or
I can imagine,
or Lakeside or any of these other places where we have stores.
So is it national for you then? You could be travelling anywhere within the UK.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm generally at this time of year, I'm either working from home, as a lot of people are, or I'm up in London in our office, which is Kingston upon Thames.
Oh yeah.
But we do have stores up as far as Manchester and Edinburgh.
Okay.
Edinburgh is the only store that's open at the moment due to slightly different rules in that part of the world. Mm-hmm. But everything else is closed, unfortunately, until at least the 2nd.
Yeah.
So a little bit painful, but
yeah, tough times for retail certainly, and you'll be hoping that come the 2nd of December that things can start to open up a little bit more.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think we're banking on hopefully people going a little bit crazy once everything reopens, and we can get a bit of an injection of cash and clear some stock. Sure. Whatever happens, it's not going to be a particularly profitable year for us, but if we can scrape through and survive.
I guess you won't be selling a lot of flip-flops just as Christmas presents, but maybe a few Timberland sweaters and
no. Well, luckily all the Havaianas stores are closed at the moment. The only one that we keep open all year round is Gatwick, and that is obviously closed at the moment because there's bugger all people flying, so it's just worth our while being there. But that will bounce back, I'm pretty sure. Once all the air routes start to reopen, I think the UK people are desperate, given any chance to get on a plane and fly away.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that, aren't we? Certainly, although
nice at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Although we weren't planning to go to Australia this year with to go and see Jordan's parents, it's just not even having the option to do it, which is really sort of frustrating. So.
No, so many plans scuppered. I was meant to be taking my son, who's 16. He'd done his GCSEs last year, and we'd planned for a couple of years to take him out to New York to celebrate the end of his exams, and that would have been in June. So that didn't happen. Fingers crossed for 21.
Yeah.
Enables us to save a bit more money to do it bigger and better next year.
So living a lovely, happy, idyllic life in Hampshire, beautiful part of the country, as I say, but you've led a bit of a transatlantic life.
Well, yeah, I was born in the middle of the Atlantic, literally.
Yeah.
I have a little dot called Ascension Island, which is just beneath the equator. Probably, I think it's about 3 miles by 5 miles big, 2,000 miles from anywhere.
Yeah.
I was there for on and off for the first part of my life, but also spent a bit of time in Iran and Sudan as well, and then back to Ascension before relocating back to the UK, back to Portsmouth actually initially.
Never mind.
Yeah, I know. Slightly better than Southampton, or is it? I don't really know. There's a big rivalry there, as you know.
Probably best not to get into that.
Yeah, but my stepdad was in the Navy, so hence Portsmouth. And
oh, you're lucky. It could have been Plymouth. So
yeah. Only one good thing about Plymouth. That's good pasties. I used to have a really good record shop as well, Rival Records, where I used to go and buy records and
lots of road signs pointing you towards Exeter as well. That's the best thing about Plymouth.
Well, where I ended up in Devon, down in Kingsbridge, Salcombe, is pretty much sandwiched between Exeter and Plymouth. And given the choice, we definitely always go to Exeter for shopping and definitely for gigs.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time at Exeter University, at the Lemon Grove and the Great Hall, seen many amazing bands there over the years.
Including Pixies?
Including Pixies, yeah. That was my first ever show that we actually went to together, albeit we didn't know each other at the time.
No,
but
we were both there, 1990.
Yeah, so I would have been 15. It was the first gig I was allowed to go to by my parents, and went with mates, and I was already massively into the band, but seeing them live on that tour just really opened it all up for me, and that was it. It wasn't just addicted to gigs; it was particularly addicted to this band, and have been ever since.
So how did you get into them originally? Then do you remember?
Yeah, so living in Devon, I was living just outside a place called Dartmouth, but went to school in Kingsbridge. Yeah, absolutely stunning. So I'd have to catch a school bus every day from Dartmouth to Kingsbridge, which would take about an hour. It's only about half an hour in a car, if that, but obviously a school bus is pretty slow. And we just used to sit at the back of the bus listening to various mixtapes and various different bands from, at the time it was a lot of metal actually, Suicidal Tendencies, Guns N' Roses, all that kind of stuff.
Hair metal, I think that's what they call it in the States, isn't it?
And then a mate put on a copy of Come On Pilgrim, and that was it for me. Yeah, that and Surfer Rosa, that just absolutely hooked me in straight away. Kind of found, I'd found my band pretty much straight away, and obsessed from that point onwards, really.
Right. Okay. And were you listening to John Peel and stuff like that at the time as well, or were you a bit too young for that? Because obviously he was quite fundamental in there becoming popular.
Yeah, very much so. Listening to any sort of alternative radio stations I could find. Obviously, spending all of my pocket money on records, on the music press. Typical teenager, burying myself away in my bedroom, just listening to music, trying to play music as well, which I could never do. Bought a crappy old guitar and never really mastered that, but like the idea of it.
Yeah. So where were you living then when you saw Pixies? You were down in Kingsbridge, were you?
Yeah, I was in Kingsbridge.
So you're 15 years old now. I mean, you and I both know getting to Kingsbridge, wherever you are in the county, is not easy. So how did you actually physically get up to Exeter and back again as well? Because obviously it's late at night. You've got to get back to Kingsbridge afterwards.
Yeah, we
lad.
So I used to go with friends, and we'd have to rely on parents to basically drive us up there en masse in a car.
Right.
and we'd go off to the cinema or go and get something to eat whilst we went to shows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real, as the crow flies, it's not very far, but it's a real pig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a good hour.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's not great roads either,
no,
particularly late at night. And I know it's I think it's October as well, wasn't it? So it'd have been
yeah,
dark and probably blowing a gale or raining or something like that as well.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. But, I mean, there was no way I was ever not going to go to that show, and I think even to get the tickets in the first place, I think I had to do an hour and a half's journey on a bus to go to Plymouth to Rival Records to buy the ticket for the
Uh-huh.
record, because we weren't really buying tickets online or anything at that point.
No. It's way before the internet.
So yeah, that showed a bit of early commitment to the cause.
Oh, absolutely. And do you remember any other bands that you saw, either in Exeter or Plymouth, around about that time?
Yeah. So in Exeter, certainly Carter, I probably saw a good 3 or 4 times there. Senseless Things, Wonder Stuff, Pop Will Eat Itself.
I was
Right.
I was at that Wonder Stuff, Pop Will Eat Itself.
Yeah.
They played together, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
so.
right, from memory. I'm
Yeah.
sure Pop Will Eat Itself supported Wonder Stuff.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ride, Wedding Present.
Yeah. I'd have been there for
You know,
that one as well.
looking back, the number of great bands that played in Exeter and that kind of time was phenomenal.
At the Lemon Grove as well, which is really small compared to the Great Hall, is they had some great bands there as well. I mean, I saw House of Love play there. I saw The Fall play there. Grantley Buffalo I saw play there. Lush and that as well.
Yeah, I think
James played there as well. So
Billy Bragg, I think I saw there.
Yeah.
It
was a really great time, wasn't it? That sort of, late 80s, early 90s. It was a great time for gigs and that around Exeter.
Amazing. Any spare money I had after that Pixie show was going on other gigs. It was that live experience, and didn't see too much in Plymouth. I did go to there was this tour called the Roller Coaster Tour, and they only did a few nights, but one happened to be in the Pavilions, which was Jesus Mary Chain.
Okay.
Disco Junior, My Bloody Valentine, and Blur, which was quite a lineup really for
absolutely
for one night, particularly to play Plymouth.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that the last the gig that we saw each other at the Pavilions is probably only the second time I've been to a gig there, other than the Coaster Tour.
Yeah. It's actually not a bad venue. I don't mind it really. It's it's pretty good, I think, for music. The acoustics aren't too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I always prefer the intimacy if you can get it.
Sure.
Yeah, the one venue that is massive, but you still get that intimacy is Brixton, which is my favourite venue in the UK by far, I'd say.
Yeah. So how many times have you seen Pixies then in concert?
I was trying to work this out the other day. I think it's going to be mid 30s.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I'd need to dig out the ticket stubs, because I think I have kept them all. But yeah, quite a bit in the early days.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I think it was the Tromp tour, I did quite a few of those, including, I think I must have been 16, 17. I was recounting this tale to my mum. She doesn't quite remember it, but I'd asked her if I could go to this gig by myself up at the GMEX in Manchester, and she said no, because I was too young. It was Manchester, and that was all a bit scary.
Yeah.
So I hatched a plan to basically go and stay with my friend in the neighbouring village, which I didn't actually do. Wasn't ever planning on doing. Right. Got on a bus to Plymouth, which was an hour.
Yeah.
And then another bus from Plymouth to Manchester, which was about 8 hours.
Yeah, it would be.
Went to the gig by myself, and then slept in the bus station overnight, which was pretty horrendous. And then
Piccadilly
back to Plymouth, and got home Sunday evening. My parents none awares that I've been to Manchester to see Pixies, and I think Cud were supporting from memory, and Boo Radley's.
Right. Okay. Wow.
So yeah, I told her this story the other day at dinner for the first time, and she was
Did
not
she tell you off?
She tried to tell me off, and then she realised I was 45. So
they never stop telling you off, mate.
All on deaf ears.
Wow, that is some commitment. That really is. So over 30 times that you've seen the band. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I mean, quite a few of those were in blocks. So
Yeah.
3 nights at Brixton on several occasions. I think I did 2 or 3 at the Roundhouse.
Hmm.
A couple of festivals here
Yeah.
and there,
Yeah.
and multiple times at Brixton. I think once at Town and Country Club, obviously
Hmm.
Plymouth, the Eden Project,
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is the first Pixies show that I took my son to. I
Right.
can't remember how old he was, but he was still at primary school, so he was, yeah, he'd have probably been about 9 or 10. Literally
Right. Okay.
scooped him up from school, stuck him in the car, and we sped down at a rate of knots.
Wow.
Went to the show and then drove back.
Is he a fan of Pixies now as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loves them. He's got some other quite questionable choices in music, but
Wow.
he does like Pixies, and quite often I can hear him playing guitar, and
Uh-huh.
it's mainly Pixies stuff. So
And what about the rest of the family? Do they like Pixies as well?
yeah, my brother does,
Okay.
and I think that's more through being having it drilled in him at a young age. I don't think it came naturally to him. It was kind of
Uh-huh.
osmosis through the ears, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, my son absolutely loves them. He's been to 4 shows with me now, I think.
Cool.
So he came up to Crystal Palace, Roundhouse,
Yeah.
Eden Project, and there was another one as well. So yeah,
Right.
he's got good ears most of the
Uh-huh.
time.
Cool. So it's just the males in the family then, is it, that have taken
Yeah,
to
it
Pixies?
seems to be. It's not quite working with my TikTok loving daughter.
No. Don't see Pixies on TikTok too often.
No, and I've offered a few times where I bought 2 tickets. I've offered to take my wife, and
Yeah.
to date, she has
Politely
refrained.
declined.
Take Jacob instead, or a friend.
Right. Okay.
No. It will happen one day, I'm sure.
Still a work in progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So all those concerts and being there right from pretty much from the start then, in terms of their popularity over here in the UK. Do you have a favourite album of theirs?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty difficult for
I'm going to
everyone.
ask you for one single track in a minute. So.
But probably it goes between Surfer Rosa and Bossa Nova. I think Surfer is the one I probably always come back to, just because it was the first stuff I really heard that really resonated with me, and it's nice and heavy. I tend to like the heavier stuff from the band.
Okay.
And yeah,
Bossa Nova, of course, it was the Bossa Nova tour that we saw them play, wasn't it?
It was
at Exeter.
Yeah.
With the big curtain coming down at the start when they did rock music, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is such a great album. I keep coming back to that time again.
So just going back to that gig, where I was upstairs being lazy, sat down in the chairs. So I guess you were down in the mosh pit.
I wasn't actually. I was upstairs as well, because that's the only tickets we could get. But yeah. So I mean, we had a pretty good view, but it wasn't. I guess at the time, it didn't feel like it was the full experience. It wasn't really amongst it. Really wanted to be on your feet and down there.
Yeah.
So hence had to go to these other shows fairly quickly.
So Surfer Rosa is your favourite album then, and is your favourite track coming from Surfer Rosa or from another album?
It isn't. It's not actually going to even come from a true album in many ways. My favourite track's Manta Ray.
Okay.
And I don't really know why. It's the one I just keep coming back to. It always makes me smile.
Yeah.
I'll always stick it on when I'm in the car, and it just, if I'm having a crap day or I'm needing to be energized, I'll come back to that track.
Okay.
It's got classic Charles screaming.
Yes.
It's got great backing vocals from Kim, and it's got this real kind of upbeat, almost pogo-like rhythm to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many to choose from, but Manta Ray is the bit of a left field choice, I guess. But
no, absolutely, certainly. I think it's the first time that it's even actually. I'm just typing it into my trusty spreadsheet. I think it's the first time that it's ever actually been mentioned in all my 50 or so podcasts as a track. So yeah, certainly a left field choice.
Yeah, it's on the complete B-sides CD that I've got, and I think it was the B-side to Monkey Gone to Heaven from memory.
Probably, yeah, it would have been around that time.
I need to look that up, but yeah. I have a feeling.
Cool. So there you are, deeply embroiled in Pixies, and then they go and split up after Trompe Le Monde. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty gutted, because I was on quite a run of on gigs and excited for the next stuff. Obviously, I'd read in all the music press that things weren't maybe as healthy as they could be, and those things don't tend to end well. So yeah, I was pretty devastated, but there's lots of other music I was listening to, and was, I guess, just keen to grasp onto anything that had any remote connection to the band, be it the Breeders or Frank Black's solo stuff, or anything that sounded remotely like them, or anything connected to 4AD. I was trying to grasp onto it. I was quite into Pavement at that time as well, so that gave me my kind of heavy fix.
Sure, yeah, good band. Yeah,
great band.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, sounds very similar to me. Then I was pretty gutted when I found out about it as well. But obviously Kim had already sort of started off with Breeders anyway, so she went off to continue that, and then obviously Charles went straight into his solo career. And how do you feel about his solo career?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it at the time. I think actually through this lockdown period, this first lockdown period, and when they re-released Teenager on vinyl for Record Store Day, I've had this bit of a resurgence of love for his solo stuff. If anything, I like it more now than I probably ever have done. I think Teenager is just a phenomenal album. There's not a track on there that I don't like.
No.
It's really my go-to Frank solo album.
Yeah.
And it hasn't aged. It's still really, it stood the test of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a lot of sort of upbeat tracks in that as well, aren't there? So it's sort of, in a lot of ways it's quite an uplifting album, and that as well sort of put you in a good mood.
Yeah. I mean, very, very different, clearly very different to Pixies, but for some reason it still resonates with me. And maybe it was trying to hang on to anything that was kind of Pixies related, but over time it's kind of found its own way for me.
Did you ever get to see Frank Black solo?
No, I had a ticket to go and see him at the Town and Country Club.
Right.
I can't remember what year that would have been, but for whatever reason that didn't happen. I couldn't go to the show. I can't remember why, but
where would you have been living then? Because you clearly you don't mind doing a bit of travelling to go and see them.
I would have been at uni, actually, in London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So pretty local then.
Yeah, I don't know whether I was. Yeah, maybe I was back home for back in Devon for some reason, or there was other stuff going on. Don't know. I mean, that uni time, I was into quite a lot of different music as well. So,
what else would you have been into at that stage then?
Well, I was still massively into my alternative and indie. Never really a Britpop fan, other than I really loved Blur.
Yeah.
But I was quite into, particularly by my second, third year, I was going out clubbing a reasonable amount, and quite into my dance and techno music and drum and bass.
Right.
I was probably out 3-4 nights a week at various different club nights. So the early week stuff tended to be the indie clubs.
Yeah.
And the Saturday, Sundays out.
Paying attention to your studies then, obviously.
Oh, yeah, naturally.
What did you do at university?
I did history and American studies.
Okay.
Yeah. And not really too sure why I chose American studies, other than I got to go and spend a semester in upstate New York as part of that in my second year. So,
all right. What year would that have been then?
now you're testing me, Andrew. That would have been probably about, I'm going to say 93, 94, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And how long were you there for?
For 6 months.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in a little place called Oswego, which was on the lakes, not too far from Bob, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the nearest sort of town or city that we would know?
Rochester.
Oh yeah.
Syracuse, and then not
I've
too far.
I've been to both those places actually.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah,
not too far from Buffalo.
Okay.
Went to a gig in Buffalo whilst I was there. Went to see Green Day.
Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't massively into them, but my American dorm mates were. So yeah, got right over there to see them. But yeah, that was okay. Bit of a music fix. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think it must be great to see live music in another country and that as well, just to sort of experience that as well. And I mean, Green Day aren't a favourite of mine, but I mean, it's a decent enough band to go and see, isn't it? So
yeah.
So what was the music scene like over in the States then at the time?
Well, my dorm mates were into all sorts of stuff, from Hootie and the Blowfish to Pavement, to the Chili Peppers. I think they quite liked Pixies. A lot of them were into Fish and the Grateful Dead, and that didn't really.
Good old Fish.
Yeah, they keep appearing.
Keep getting a mention, don't they?
I wasn't really into that stuff. We ended up, myself and two of my UK roommates, we ended up doing a bit of a stint on the campus radio station, which was just dedicated to kind of British music, mainly Britpop stuff. So
cool.
That was fun. Trying to bring a bit of British culture and music to the US contingent.
Yeah, brilliant. It sounds great. So coming back to Frank's solo career then, in Teenager of the Years, clearly your favourite album. Do you have a favourite track from his solo career?
Yeah, I think from Teenager, Superabound, I think is, I was listening to that again this morning. Just a fantastic upbeat track. But I think in terms of favourite track, there's probably two, and they kind of marry into each other, and that's actually on the Frank Black eponymous album, which is Czar into Old Black Dawning.
Yeah, okay.
They're very different tracks, but they merge. Somehow they kind of merge into each other really, really well.
Yeah, excellent, cool. I'll probably do Superabound because I don't think anyone's actually chosen that, but I know that the other two have been chosen previously, so I'll put a link. I'll put a link to that.
Superabound.
Yeah, put something a bit different up. So okay, so what about Pixies merchandise? I know you like merchandise, and I know you say you keep your tickets, and you very kindly sent me a ticket from that gig that you and I went to in Exeter. So do you keep a lot of...
If you ever need another one of those, I've got about another 800. Were
you responsible for selling the tickets or something?
No, I just remember it being such a outstanding show. As we were leaving the venue, there were literally these 3 big black bins full of the tickets. And I just scooped them out because I thought I need to remember this, and I had all grand plans of basically wallpapering my room with them, but it never happened. So I've still got them in my shed.
Brilliant.
Not quite bear to get rid of them for some reason. But.
So are you one for sort of keeping merchandise and things like that then, and buying T-shirts and posters?
T-shirts, definitely. Yeah, my wife's told me I need to have a big clear out.
Right.
I can't really get rid of my band T-shirts. I think they will have to go in the loft and be packed away for forever for memories.
Do they all still fit? I'm sure they do. Slim lad like you.
Not too sure about that. Yeah, I think they probably do now. I think I've lost a little bit of chunk through lockdown.
Right. Okay. Most of us have put weight on through lockdown, so I don't know what your secret is.
Lots of dog walks, cycling. Yeah, just trying to keep the legs and the mind busy. Not really stop, to be fair.
Yeah. So a favourite Pixies T-shirt then? Because it's T-shirt day today, isn't it? Actually,
it is.
recording this?
Yeah, there are a few. I got the one that's got the skull with wearing the beanie, which Mike Flynn kindly picked up for me.
Yeah.
I saw that one on the US site, got really excited, knew Mike was going to the show, and asked him to grab me one. Unbeknown to me, I think the postage ended up being more than the T-shirt itself, and then within about a few days of it arriving, I think you could get it on the UK site. So it was a expensive purchase, but now I think probably my favourite is a Trump T-shirt that I got up at that GMX show, which I'm sure is pretty it's proper vintage now. I'm sure it would go for a reasonable amount on eBay, but I can't quite bring myself to doing that. It's massively overstretched and it's knackered, but it's the one with the big P on it.
Yeah.
The flying P.
Yeah. And do you ever loan them to your son then when he's in Pixies mode?
No, he's got his own. So.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. He we had to get him the one with the cat.
Right.
At where do we get him that? The Crystal Palace show.
Yeah.
And then he bought a couple of knocked off ones outside the Roundhouse from the Surfer Rosa tour, much to his mum's dismay.
Right.
Due to Boobygate.
Yeah, quite okay.
But he's a 16-year-old lad, so
Well, exactly. Yeah, we all have to learn, don't we? Brilliant. Okay, so then the band got back together, and how do you think they've been since reforming? I mean, that's what 15 years or so now that they've been reformed, isn't it? So was it 2004, 2005? Yeah. So it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's still a good length of time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that they're at their best right now, or certainly have been for the last couple of years, both from a kind of musicality point of view, but also they look like they're back to enjoying it. Yeah. And there were clearly periods when they got back together in, was it 2004?
Yeah.
Anything pre-Paz, they were there and they were functioning, and it was amazing to go and see them. But I was never entirely convinced that they actually wanted to be there. Whereas now,
the chemistry between Charles and Kim was evident, wasn't it? I think, or lack of chemistry, shall we say? Certainly playing live, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and even to a certain extent, Kim Mark too as well. Because she was quite a character, full of energy, and it just didn't quite fit with the DNA of the band.
Yeah, whereas I think it's very much with Charles. It's just play the music and that's it, isn't it? And with Kim, she liked to have a bit of banter, I think, with the crowd, didn't she?
Yeah, and Paz does that to a certain extent, but she does that really just through being a phenomenal bass player, a great singer, and she brings the energy just by being there and smiling, really. Yeah. I think the last few shows I've been to, end up getting drawn to watching Paz because she just loves being there, loves being part of that band, and the rest of the band seem to thrive off that energy.
Absolutely. And as well, obviously, before the band reformed, we had Frank Black and the Catholics and that as well. Are you into that music?
Not massively. Okay. I've listened to a little bit through lockdown on and off, but given the opportunity, I'll just come back to Frank Black's solo stuff.
Yeah.
There are a few tracks I quite like, but it doesn't grab me as much as the other stuff.
Sure. Are you able to choose one track of theirs that you like?
Yeah. St. Francis Damn Disaster.
That's the one that I chose.
Is it?
Yeah. Actually, on my Spotify account, I've done some compilations actually of all the tracks that have been chosen. So yeah, you'll be able to find me on under Bargy Boy on Spotify. So yeah, I've done some track lists. And,
not Argy Bargy Boy.
Not Argy Bargy Boy, no, just Bargy Boy.
No, I'll try and dig that out.
Yeah.
No, I think it's classic Charles storytelling, that one.
Yeah, it is definitely.
And I went away having re-listened to it, and then did a bit of very light research on what it was all about, and it kind of again resonated slightly. It reminded me slightly of the Aberfan disaster in Wales.
Of course, yeah, because I should mention that you're a proud half Welshman, aren't you? Welsh dad. Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to rugby, although I'm not going to sing about that too much at the moment. It's not going too well the past few weeks, but no, it's a good track, that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so I shall put that down. So what about happenings then? Have you been to any of the UK happenings? Obviously, I know you and I have met up a couple of times.
Yeah, so I went to Manchester.
Okay. Was that to see Hey Pixies or to see Pixies?
Yeah, Hey Pixies.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Which was a bit of a strange one, really, bit of a leap of faith. A little bit outside of my comfort zone, really.
Well, you say that, but you're happy to just get on a coach as a 15, 16-year-old and go pretty much the full length of the country by yourself. So.
Yeah, I think I've probably become slightly more introverted as I've got older.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I managed to tie it in with a work trip up to Manchester.
Oh, handy.
So that was very handy. And actually, within a few minutes, I knew it was all going to be fine. I had no reason to be apprehensive, and within about 5-6 pints, I knew I definitely made the right decision. So.
Yeah, nothing matters after 5 or 6 pints, I don't think, does it really? Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I met some wonderful people from the group. Obviously, Adela organised that, and there was no way I was not going to make the trip if Mike Flynn and Sheila were travelling over, and James and Kelly and Jacob were all coming.
Sure.
Had no excuse really for not making the relatively short trip up north.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They were going to get on a plane and do it.
And then, of course, we saw you down in Plymouth.
Yeah.
As well.
Back
on
to the motherland
theory tour. Yeah. Okay. And you've been to a few others as well, haven't you? Because you went to Crystal Palace, I think. I mean, this was on the Beneath Theory tour. You went to.
I went to Crystal Palace. So yeah, met up with the Steelies again.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim and a load of the US contingent.
I think Adam was at that one as well, wasn't he? Adam Short was at that one.
Yeah, as well as all the normal faces, Kimball and Mandy and those guys were there. So it's great. This just gives a bit of an extra reason to go now. It's not just going to see the band, it's actually going to meet up with a bunch of friends who you haven't seen for a while.
You must have a very relaxed and understanding wife as well to allow you to all these trips.
Yeah, well, luckily, actually, I've got I've got two neighbours as well who are in the group.
Right.
In fact, they're both within 200 yards. We're on the same road.
Okay.
That's Simon White and Adrian Saunders. A stone's throw.
Yeah.
And there's Phil Husband as well, who's also in Lymington.
Yeah.
But certainly Adrian, Simon and I, given any excuse, would be travelling to a Pixie show, and we can share rides. And
that's a real Pixies hotspot, isn't it? For the size of Lymington to have four dedicated Pixies fans.
Yeah, well, and if you include my son Jacob and Simon's son Asher, then who's also been to a few shows with us. Yeah. I think Joe Kirkham calls us Cool Street, but that's a little bit far from the truth, really.
So, have you got a Lymington branch of the official Pixies fan club? Then, have you? No,
we should do. That would be next.
Yeah,
our own unique merchandise and
form your own tribute band.
Well, Adrian and Simon are both pretty decent guitarists, so with them and Jacob, I'm sure they probably could. I could maybe do the roadie bit.
Oh, you could be Charles at the front.
Yeah, maybe not. I could get a flashlight and pretend to be Miles, but.
Brilliant. Okay, so quite a few happenings then, and
hopefully many more to come.
Yes. So you're missing live music, I can tell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd booked to with Simon actually to go to the Hyde Park show, which was
Yeah.
obviously cancelled but now rescheduled. So we've rebought
Mhm.
tickets for that.
It's the
Hope-
Pearl Jam one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So hoping that will happen. We've also got tickets to go and see Idols in Southampton at a pretty small venue.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a reasonable to moderate fan, but intrigued to see them live. So
Not in the James Skeen League, but still pretty active. Yeah.
no one can compete with James for number of gigs and variety of
No,
bands.
absolutely not. No.
Adrian just down the road will probably be close to that, but
Right. Okay.
he tends to see stuff a bit more on the local scene.
Uh-huh. So is Southampton a decent place then for live music? I remember, who did I see? I saw Belly. I saw Belly supported
Okay.
by Lush at in Southampton when I was at Bournemouth University.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not too bad. You'll get an occasional, decent band playing in either the Guildhall or the Joiners or 1865. I think
Mm-hmm.
bands, on the way up tend to hit those venues.
Yeah.
But London's just an hour and a half on the train, so
Sure. Yeah.
that's doable. And if it's a midweek gig, I can tie it in with work and stay over.
Yeah.
So
And you got a train station in Lymington as well, haven't you? So
we have, yeah. I mean, the
yeah.
main one is Brockenhurst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lymington's just feeds the Brockenhurst line, but
So
yeah,
easy for you to get up to London then, relatively. Yeah. Uh-huh. Cool. And what about the bands? Well, it's not so new now, but the latest single, "Hear Me Out," Paz on vocals.
yeah,
And
decent. It hasn't arrived yet, but I've bought the vinyl, so I'm waiting for that to arrive.
yeah.
I need to give it a proper listen. I know there's been a bit of mixed response to it, but
Okay.
it's nice to hear Paz being unleashed as she's kind of justly deserved.
Yeah, and directing and featuring in the video as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's good that she's getting a sort of a fuller role than I think than probably Kim had in the band in terms of sort of artistic direction and involvement and that as well. So
Yeah, I think they're a lot more on the same page, aren't they? And
yeah.
she seems to have a bit less of an ego, and
Yeah. Maybe Charles is just, he's older now and maybe he's
mellowing out.
just mellowing, doesn't want all the infighting and tension within the band anymore. So just a bit more chilled out maybe. So yeah. Okay. So my last question, which if you've watched, I know you've watched some of these, you'll know what the question is going to be. So it was the one that Joe Kirkham originally just intended to be for Adam Short. So there you are in the middle of a dream and you find yourself naked on stage in front of thousands of your adoring fans and they all want you to sing one Pixies song for them. Which one's it going to be?
Here Comes Your Man.
Here Comes Your Man. I think that's the first time that anyone's chosen that for that section. Brilliant. Okay, lovely.
Only because I'd be able to hide behind a big semi acoustic guitar.
But then my next question though is, are you going to do the Franz Ferdinand way with the guitars up here, or are you going to do the Peter Hook when it's down covering your modesty?
I'm going to do the Peter Hook, but spin it like ZZ Top.
That's very specific.
I've thought about this.
You have done, haven't you? This is why you've been delaying for so long to do the Pixiecast. You wanted to get it all sorted out in your mind, didn't you? Julian, it's great to spend some time with you. Lovely to see you. And,
You too, Andrew.
Hopefully things will be looking up for you work-wise. I know you are still working, but not quite in the same way as you would be normally. But hopefully things are moving in the right direction.
New job as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, cheers. It will be good to be earning an honest living again, rather than just sitting around the house, not doing anything too constructive, really.
Keeping Jordan accustomed to the lady she is.
Well, no, she's the one earning money at the moment, but thankfully that's only for about another 10 days before I start working again, be an honest man again. So great to see you, mate. Thank you very much for your time and for telling us all about Pixies. See you soon. Cheers. Bye.